Why would Elon Musk deign to go to the New York Times Dealbook Summit and indulge a smug twit like Aaron Ross Sorkin with an interview? Well, apparently he had some things he wanted to get off his chest about the Media Matters instigated advertising boycott by big corporate types of X or Twitter. And when inevitably queried about that, he spoke in no uncertain terms.
And you're clarifying this now, but there's a public perception that that was part of a apology tour, if you will. That this had been said online. There was all of the criticism. There was advertisers leaving. We talked to Bob Iger today.
I hope they stop.
You hope?
Don't advertise.
You don't want them to advertise?
No.
What do you mean?
If somebody's going to try to blackmail me with advertising, blackmail me with money, go f*** yourself.
But
go f*** yourself. Is that clear? I hope it is. Hey, Bob, if you're in the audience.
It's clear to me.
I mean, people in the audience were laughing. I'm like, I don't think he thinks this is funny. He's telling the truth.
It was a little bit of nervous laughter because it was, I think, rather unexpected. For more on the topic of Elon Musk going thermonuclear, that's the title of his piece, Mark Hemingway, senior writer at RealClearInvestigations.com, joins us. Mark, thanks for being with us. Appreciate it.
Glad to be back.
Were you taken aback at all by Elon's blunt pushback to corporate America?
I guess I wasn't surprised, but, at the same time, everybody in the media space, and I mean, just public intellectuals in general, let alone people that are, powerful in the business world, have become so, and afraid of any sort of backlash for anything they say. And so it's still just amazing to hear someone of his stature say that.
Well, yeah, and not to mention who he's directing it to. So, Bob Iger at Disney and these other corporations that have fallen in line with this, I think it's fair to call it fraud that was perpetrated by Media Matters and is now the subject of a lawsuit filed by Elon Musk. Develop that for a little bit for us, will you?
Yeah, well, basically what happened was a couple of weeks ago, Media Matters, which is basically an execrable organization. I mean, they exist basically to silence and intimidate people. I mean, what they do is they go and they take outrageous comments that people say in cable news or snippets from columns or whatever that they didn't like. And, very often, they take these things wildly out of context and they try and basically, highlight these things and scare the person, by giving them negative publicity. In the case of Elon Musk, what they did was just absolutely incredible. They basically followed a bunch of people on Twitter that were known for being edgy or extremists, and then they gamed the system by refreshing their feeds over and over again. Twitter is a very detailed thing. There are legal briefs that they filed, explaining how this was artificially created. They basically went out of their way to manipulate Twitter's platform to get corporate advertising next to extremist tweets or whatever. And then they went to the corporations themselves and were like, do you support this platform, putting your advertising next to these white nationalists or whatever? And the corporations, of course, all freaked out. But, Twitter, points out that, they can prove, they're alleging that they can prove that in some cases, these tweets were literally seen by, twice, including by the person that originally posted it. So it really was just, a blatant attempt, according to them, to, make Twitter look bad and silence them because they're the only major platform out there that is doing anything to stand up for free speech, essentially, and can't be controlled by, the organizations like Media Matters or even the Democratic Party.
I mean, you write in your piece, what is in play here may be nothing less than free expression in this country. This is more than about the bottom line. And so, I mean, explain what you mean by that and whether you think Musk agrees with you.
I think that Musk absolutely agrees with me. I mean, buying Twitter for $44 billion wasn't exactly a slam dunk. in terms of it being a savvy business decision for Musk. I mean, he did it because, one, I think he likes the product and he has, fun with it, obviously. But more than that, though, he's been very, open over and over again about how he thinks that free speech is being threatened by basically, woke people and people that are heavily invested in controlling political narratives. I mean, if you just look at what happened in 2020 with, Hunter Biden's laptop, where Twitter, under the previous ownership, without even looking into the story, immediately, censored people. I mean, not just put advisories or tried to warn people this was fake news. They literally made it so that you couldn't share the New York Post link to the story about Hunter Biden's laptop. And of course, now even the New York Times and the Washington Post admit that the Hunter Biden's laptop is true. I mean, everything on it appears to be, accurate. It has not been manipulated by shady Russians or anything, but that was the narrative right out of the gate, and they censored it going into an election to try and control the outcome of that election. I mean, there's no question about what happened there. And when you see things like that happen, you should be worried about whether or not we're going to, live in an environment where the First Amendment allows people to make informed decisions about elections.
So as a way to repair his image, I guess, Elon Musk, he's not an anti-Semite, but he went to Israel. What did you think about that visit?
Look, I mean, obviously this was another situation here where, he responded to something that I think got totally, he wasn't exactly careful. And one of the things about Twitter is that it's because you're limited to 280 characters or whatever it is, it's very easy to say something, pithy or something that is much more nuanced in a direct way, and get in trouble. And he responded to this tweet having to do with, Jewish interests, which if you read the tweet in a very favorable, reading, I don't think it could be construed as anti-Semitic at all. And lots of Jews actually wrote to Elon's defense. People like Yoram Hazony and, Ben Shapiro and stuff basically came out and said, look, this is ridiculous controversy. But the reality is that anything that they can do to tarnish Musk and, to paint this portrait that he's, he's an extremist himself running an extremist platform, they're going to use to try and go after Musk and to go after X or Twitter, because the current sort of, information regime cannot stand that there is one major outlet for news out there that isn't engaged in massive self-censorship to further basic political narratives that, favor a DC establishment at a time when all sorts of things are going wrong in this country. And that's really about as simple as it is.
Well, and we have this development, too, on the same topic. First, we had the Twitter files, and now we've got this whistleblower that's apparently provided information to Michael Schellenberger and to Matt Taibbi that provides more details about how this censorship industrial complex was stood up after Brexit and then after Trump's election, and how engaged the federal government, federal agencies were, like Department of Homeland Security, not limited to Department of Homeland Security, in collaborating, colluding, directing, not social media companies directly or through cutouts like this election integrity partnership to censor information on social media. So, I mean, this other piece of it, too, as you were sort of getting to, is it's not just that he's running a different program than the other social media companies, is that, all of the state apparatuses can't get to him. And then he exposed them by providing all that information that provided the reporting on the Twitter files. So now they've really got an axe to grind.
Oh, yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And I would also like to mention at this point in time that, the congressional Republicans released a report showing, the extent to which this obscure Department of Homeland Security agency, and there was another agency in the federal government, I forget where exactly it was located, but they were working with Stanford disinformation researchers, right, and they were compiling an extensive watch list of people that they were flagging for tweets that they didn't like, and it was, relatively harmless stuff. I know this because my wife was on that watch list.
Molly.
I mean, this is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, is this America? I mean, for crying out loud. I mean, people should be very, very concerned about what is going on, and the fact that, all of these people are conspiring. I mean, none of this is happening in any sort of transparent or democratic way. I mean, this is a bunch of unelected bureaucrats conspiring with, private actors, that control major platforms to pressure them and to censor people and to, use algorithmic, monkeying to, make things less visible. I mean, it is just happening across the board. And the funny thing is yes, this has all been exposed at Twitter thanks to Elon Musk, but what do you think is happening at Facebook? What do you think is happening at, major newsrooms around the country when controversial news arises? Do you think that these same people don't have their tentacles in those places? Of course they do.
Well, exactly. Well, and this, I talked to Michael Benz, former cybersecurity guy at State Department, and he was instrumental in some of the reporting done by reporters like Schellenberg and Taibbi in terms of the censorship industrial complex within the federal government, and then these new cutouts, the pivot they're making with organizations like NewsGuard, that's headed up by a bunch of ex-deep state types to serve the same purpose without having to, get direction from federal agencies because they already know what to do. So, I mean, they're pivoting to try to do to do it on a rolling basis, but certainly with an eye toward 2024, the same thing that they have been doing since 2016. And to your point, you and some of the other names I've mentioned, and there's a handful of others, but are the ones reporting it, but it's not getting near, in my mind, the profile that it deserves given the threat that it presents.
Oh, absolutely. Still threatened from a lot of different angles, but I mean, free speech is pretty much the cornerstone of the republic, and it is very, very, very much threatened right now. I don't know what to do about it. I mean, I'm writing frantically all the time on these topics.
Yeah.
It seems like, and so are lots of people out there. I mean, there are plenty of good people out there. You've mentioned them. Michael Schellenberger, Matt Taibbi, all kinds of other people that have really been making this a thing. But what I just don't understand is the entire journalistic establishment is fine with it. Why is the Washington Post and the New York Times not concerned about this? And the reason why is they've surrendered everything to politics to a degree that is just, sort of terrifying. I mean, I don't agree with Matt Taibbi on much of anything politically, but he's absolutely right about free expression, and he gets why this is so concerning. Just because your favored, regime is in power right now, and, they're pushing some sort of, left-leaning agenda that you're really happy about, doesn't mean that can't change, and the same people and different people can't come in and use these same, tools that have been built up to censor people against you. I mean, this just seems so patently obvious. And it's so weird because, somebody's been in journalism nearly 25 years. When I started out, I mean, every single person in every, newsroom that I ever worked in would have agreed with me on this, even though I was always more to the right than most of my colleagues. But, the people that were, the solid Democratic left-leaning people in the newsroom, they would have agreed on the bedrock principle of free speech. If we don't have that, then we don't have anything. And yet somehow now, no one in the broader media is concerned about the very thing that allows them to operate, that is the lifeblood of what they do. They're content being, basically state propaganda. It's crazy.
Mark Hemingway, senior writer, RealClearInvestigations.com, his piece, Why Elon Musk is Going Thermonuclear. Mark, thanks as always.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
With the holidays upon us, the increase in traveling, shopping, and connecting online also heightens the need to protect your identity and finances with LifeLock. Identity thieves see this time of year as an opportunity to drain your accounts, open new loans in your name, and damage your financial future. LifeLock detects and alerts you to the threats you might miss on your own. Don't let the busy holiday season catch you off guard. Save up to 25% off your first year with promo code CLAY. LifeLock.com, promo code CLAY.
Wednesday, the final GOP debate of the year is on News Nation, America's fastest-growing cable news network. SiriusXM's Megyn Kelly, News Nation's Elizabeth Vargas, and the Washington Free Beacon's Eliana Johnson moderate a live primetime event from the University of Alabama as the candidates make their case to America on the only network for all America, the News Nation Republican Primary Debate. Live Wednesday, 8 Eastern. To find News Nation on your TV, go to joinnn.com.
ask yourself, what did you have yesterday? Any fruits, any vegetables, any salads? If not, try Balance of Nature. 31 whole fruits and vegetables, real food, real nutrition. I love it. They take the fruits and veggies and they put them in a capsule by turning it into a powder substance after an advanced vacuum cold process, which stabilizes the maximum nutrient content. So a lot of people take it because they have increased energy and the ability to keep doing the things that they love even as they age. So get your health back. Try Balance of Nature now. The number to call, 800-246-8751. The new promo code, folks, is KLG. Promo code KLG. Or online at balanceofnature.com. Discount code, say it with me, KLG.
Looking to purchase a new home? Then you need to call Team Hochberg, your trusted local lender. Saving for a down payment is one of the largest challenges borrowers face when purchasing a home. But I have amazing news.